Hello, my name is Jasmine Renee, and I'm going to give a review on this book called And So I Roar by Abby Dare. Yes, I'm doing this for my classroom. This is our reading corner, so I figured this would be the best place, background area to give my review. This book is absolutely incredible, and it actually says that you can't see the full thing on there, but somebody put a review and it says incredible. Like, yes, this book is absolutely amazing. I found it when I was at the library in Eastwick, and the cover just stuck out to me. It was just this part. It was the cover, and so I wore an Abby Dare, and I like to read books by Nigerian authors just to find out more about the culture, and it's beautiful. It's such a phenomenal story. It's about this little girl. Oh, her name is losing me now. Aduni. It's about this little girl, Aduni, and how she really just wants to get an education. She wants to become a teacher. And in the previous book, The Girl with the Louding Voice, she escaped her village in Akati to start working in Lagos underneath this mean woman named Madam something. And the lady was very abusive and mean. And a woman named Tia, who she calls Miss Tia, sort of took her in or adopted her and was kind of taking care of her and setting her up to go to school. But just the day before she was actually able to go to school, um, some of her village chiefs, Makati, came to her and said, "You have to come back because our land is suffering." So this little girl, she went through arranged marriage, rape, abuse, all kinds of things. And she finally felt like she was about to conquer it by going to get her education until the village chief said, no, you got to come back and you have to go to trial because they think that she killed somebody who she didn't actually kill. It was a man who killed her. So I love this book because of its writing. The writing is very beautiful. It's very poetic. The way that the author speaks in this book, her voice is very unique in that way. Um, let's see. Says, oh, so the book it changes perspectives throughout the story. So at one point, it's from the perspective of Tia, the woman who takes in Aduni, and from another perspective, it's from Aduni. So the way the book summarizes it is when Tia accidentally overhears a whispered conversation between her mother, terminally ill and lying in a hospital bed in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, and her aunt, the repercussions will send her on a desperate quest to uncover a secret her mother has been hiding for nearly 2 decades. So Tia has her own story. I'm not going to spoil it, but something serious happens between her and her mother. Her and her mother never really had a good relationship, and she found out some information from her mom that really broke her heart and made her feel really upset. Then it says back home in Lagos a few days later, Aduni, a plucky 14-year-old runaway, is lying awake in Tia's guest room. Having escaped from her rural village in a desperate bid to seek a better future, she's finally found refuge with Tia, who has helped her enroll in school. It's always been Aduni's dream to get an education, and she's bursting with excitement. Suddenly, there's a horrible knocking at the front gate. It's only the beginning of a harrowing ordeal that we will see Tia forced to make a terrible choice between protecting Aduni or finally learning the truth behind the secret her mother has hidden from her. And Aduni will learn that her louding voice, as she calls it, is more important than ever, as she must advocate to save not only herself, but all the young women of her home village, Akati. If she succeeds, she may transform Akati into a place where girls are allowed to claim the bright futures they deserve and shout their stories to the world. So when she goes back to her village, Aduni, she's met with a lot of adversity. She's able to see her family again, and she's able to realize how much she's really needed there because she really didn't want to go back. She wanted to stay in this glorious place, but when she comes back, she's like, I see why God made me come back here. And I really resonated with that story because even me personally, in my own personal life, I feel like I made it to this place where it's like, okay, yes, everything's going good. I'm about to reach this success, right? But God brought me back home, and I was really disappointed about that because I'm like, I don't want to go back home. There's nothing for me here. Like everything I ever want or need is in this place. But when I got home, I realized no, I am needed here. There is a lot of work to be done here. And what she faces in her village is a lot of womanizing, uh, high priests, and there's a lot of mention about witchcraft in this book. So if you're a Christian, Just know about that. It's not, I didn't feel like I was opening a door by reading this though, because it doesn't talk about any like specific rituals or any incantations or anything in the book. It just like kind of describes it, but it's not an open door. I didn't feel like I was opening the door to Satan by reading this book. It's not that, I didn't get that vibe from it. Also, I know I'm covered by the blood of Jesus, so I'm good regardless. So, but basically, the men in her village, they take advantage of women. And there's a lot of stories about how some of her peers were taken advantage of, raped, molested. You need to be careful reading this book because there's some really traumatizing parts of this book. Like I said, there's mention of rape, there's mention of molestation, abuse, neglect, even murder and death. So there's one scene where they describe a really graphic assault. So keep that in mind also when you're reading. That doesn't happen until like maybe like the towards the end of the book. But yeah, I this story made me feel really empowered to continue to learn more about Nigerian culture and what women in rural areas are going through, but also what women in the city are experiencing in their marriages and relationships, and how like even though you might not be living in the village anymore, like how some traditions can still follow you. Like the main character Tia, she went through a ritual for fertility that was pretty traumatizing for her. So it's just very interesting to see what the women are going through and how, despite all these things, they continue to push on. I think that's also a message that comes from this book is to use your, she calls it the louding voice, or, being able to roar. And so I roar and like not allowing the situations or conflicts that you're going through to tear you apart or break you down. Because you're way more powerful than you could ever think or imagine. And that's what we see about Aduni, how she finds her voice and she finds her power when she does so, and she actually changes the whole energy and landscape of her village. So definitely read it. It's very good. There's also a lot of mention of romance and lost love and stuff that kind of makes your heart go, oh, my heart aches. Like, ah. If you're a romance person, there's some romance in there for you. There's romance, there's action, there's drama, there's thriller, there's a little bit of horror. It's a little bit of everything. You get a little bit of everything in this book. So I am grateful that I was able to get this story. I'm grateful that God led me to this story because I feel like it will continue to teach me about what other people are going through around the world and how to be more sensitive to their individual experiences and